Hello, my dears. This is your Nana Rose, and today I brought you one of those stories that makes us believe in the power of our dreams all over again. Have you ever been rejected just for coming from a humble background? Well, young Emma was told she wasn't good enough, but then something incredible happened that changed her story forever. Want to know how it ends? Then grab your cup of tea, get cozy, and come with me to discover how determination can change the world, and silence prejudice. You won't want to miss this.
The morning sun as ever was already strong when Emma awoke. A fine dust veiled everything, the rustic furniture of her room, the piled-up school books on her desk, even the air she breathed. Outside, her father's tractor already rumbled, carving through the earth for yet another day of toil. The routine was arduous, relentless, but for Emma it was the only life she knew. A life that, until then, had seemed adequate enough. The family farm clinging to the arid inland soil was all she had. More than a home, it was the legacy of generations, a testament to the sweat and sacrifice of years past. Mother Susan, a woman of indomitable spirit and calloused hands, embodied the resilience of those parched lands. She was the one who instilled in Emma a profound appreciation for the earth, an understanding of its hidden rhythms, and a respect for its cyclical nature. She also relentlessly urged her daughter to pursue education, to seek a future beyond the unpredictable vagaries of weather and the volatile commodity market. The school, roughly 20 kilometers from the farm, was a world apart. A world of faces, familiar yet distant, of gazes that seemed to scrutinize every detail, every imperfection. Emma, with her simple attire and heavy accent, felt like an alien entity in that elitist environment. The daughters of the wealthiest landowners, the sons of the city's prominent businessmen, all appeared to belong to an exclusive club, a club to which she would never be invited. Despite the discomfort, Emma persevered. She was a dedicated, inquisitive, and passionate student, eager for knowledge. In science classes, particularly, she felt at ease. The logic of nature, the precision of formulas, the beauty of discoveries, all captivated her. It was in robotics, an extracurricular club she frequented with zeal, that she unearthed her true calling. Amidst intricate wires, circuit boards, and gears, Emma could unleash her imagination, transmuting ideas into tangible realities. She crafted prototypes, tested solutions, and pushed the boundaries of her own potential. It was a realm where her background held no sway, where creativity and tenacity were the sole determinants. A world where, for the first time, she felt the possibility of truly becoming herself. The National Robotics Fair was the pinnacle of that world. An opportunity to showcase one's talent, to compete with the best, to demonstrate one's capabilities. Director Thompson, a woman of stern countenance and inflexible opinions, held the power to select the projects that would represent the school. Emma knew the competition would be fierce, yet she was confident. She possessed an innovative concept, an ambitious project, and an unwavering desire to prevail. Emma's project was an automated irrigation system engineered to optimize water usage and minimize waste. Leveraging soil moisture sensors, artificial intelligence algorithms, and recycled materials, it aimed to create a system that was not only efficient and sustainable but also accessible. It represented a sophisticated solution to a pressing issue, a tangible response to the challenges confronting modern agriculture. Ms. Thompson's presentation was a debacle. She barely had time to articulate her concept before being met with a barrage of sarcastic remarks and dismissive glances. The director judged her based on superficial factors, her appearance, her background, and her accent. The project was deemed too rudimentary, lacking the requisite standard for the school, and ultimately unsuitable for the national fair. The director's words struck her like a bucket of ice water. Humiliation, disappointment, and rage coalesced into a maelstrom of emotion. Emma felt the ground crumble beneath her feet. That meticulously crafted dream imploded in a flash. He nearly gave up. He almost convinced himself that the director was right, that he wasn't good enough, that he didn't belong in that sphere. He almost returned to the farm, to his habitual routine, to the security of obscurity. But then Miss Collins, a woman with a gentle gaze and kind words, found her in the hallway, her eyes brimming with tears. She listened to her story, embraced her with tenderness, and whispered words of encouragement. She declared her faith in her admiration for her talent, and that she could not allow the judgment of one individual to obstruct her pursuit of her dreams. And Susan, upon seeing her daughter arrive home with a dejected countenance, embraced her in her strong arms and recounted tales of overcoming adversity, of resilience, of women who vanquished prejudice and obstacles to achieve their aspirations. She reminded her of the strength coursing through her veins, of the legacy of courage that flowed in her blood. With Professor Collins and her mother's support, Emma found the fortitude to persevere. She resolved to forge ahead, even if it meant traversing the solitary path, even if it meant confronting Principal Thompson and all her ingrained biases. She resolved to demonstrate to all that talent transcends color, origin, and social standing, that it is a force of nature, a flame ignited within the hearts of those audacious enough to dream. Fueled by renewed resolve, Emma devised a plan. She knew she couldn't leverage school resources or rely on Director Thompson's support. She would have to undertake the project entirely on her own, utilizing the scant resources at her disposal. The farmhouse garage, repurposed into a makeshift laboratory, became her sanctuary. There, amidst rusted tools and salvage parts, Emma spent countless hours refining her project. Driven by passion and a fervent desire to demonstrate her worth, she worked tirelessly well into the night. Each setback served as a lesson, each obstacle a challenge to be overcome. She utilized recycled materials, repurposed electronic components, and improvised solutions with a creativity born solely from scarcity. The discarded refrigerator, for instance, yielded its motor for the water pumping system. The carcass of a defunct computer provided the motherboard for sensor control. Meanwhile, Miss Collins discreetly assisted Emma. She procured parts and information, offered technical guidance, and most importantly, instilled fortitude and hope. Her mother, Susan, provided unwavering support, managing the farm's chores so Emma could dedicate herself fully to the project. She prepared nutritious meals, encouraged rest, and constantly reminded Emma that health was as paramount as knowledge. With the project nearing completion, Emma faced a novel challenge: how to present it at the National Fair without school endorsement. Professor Collins suggested she reach out to agricultural technology companies, seeking sponsorship. Emma wavered. She had never undertaken such an initiative. A sense of apprehension and intimidation washed over her. Yet, she knew it was her sole opportunity. Engaging in extensive online research, encompassing articles and video content, revealed numerous companies actively investing in innovative agricultural solutions. Culling those most congruent with her vision, she meticulously crafted emails, outlining her project and requesting an in-person presentation opportunity. Most companies failed to respond at all. Some sent generic messages, expressing gratitude for the contact and stating their disinterest. Emma felt the discouragement resurface, but she did not relinquish her pursuit. She knew she had to persevere, that she needed to maintain unwavering self-belief. One day, an unexpected email arrived. Mr. Daniel Carter, CEO of an agricultural technology firm, Agritech Solutions, had reviewed her proposal and expressed interest in meeting her. They scheduled a meeting at the school for the following day. Emma could scarcely contain her astonishment. This was her opportunity, the chance to showcase her abilities to a wider audience, the chance to demonstrate to Miss Thompson that she had been mistaken. The following day, the entire school was abuzz. The arrival of Mr. Carter, an urbane and influential figure, sparked a general commotion. Principal Thompson, visibly flustered, attempted to manage the situation, displaying a strained cordiality. Following a brief exchange with the headmistress, Mr. Carter requested to peruse Emma's project. The headmistress, exhibiting some reluctance, endeavored to dissuade him, citing the project's nascent stage. Mr. Carter, however, persisted in his desire, eager to examine the project and meet the student responsible for its conception. Nervously and self-consciously, Emma presented her automated irrigation system. She elucidated its operation, showcased the results, and championed the importance of sustainability. Mr. Carter listened intently, posing pertinent questions and exhibiting genuine interest. Concluding the presentation, Mr. Carter beamed. He expressed his profound admiration for Emma's intellect, ingenuity, and fervent passion. He characterized her project as groundbreaking, positing its potential to revolutionize agricultural practices. To the collective astonishment of the audience, he then announced that Agritech Solutions would sponsor Emma's participation in the National Robotics Fair. Director Thompson, visibly flustered, attempted a weak justification, claiming she had always believed in Emma's potential. However, Mr. Carter cut her short, asserting his knowledge of her prejudiced stance and his complete intolerance of such conduct. The director's palpable humiliation was evident. Radiant, Emma thanked Mr. Carter for the opportunity. A sense of triumph permeated her. She had demonstrably proven her worth, transcending preconceived notions and securing her place in the world. Little did she know, however, that the ultimate crucible lay ahead. With Agritech Solutions sponsorship secured, Emma threw herself wholeheartedly into preparations for the National Robotics Fair. The ensuing weeks were a grueling marathon of relentless effort and unwavering dedication. The long-held dream of representing the school, now a tangible reality, spurred her to overcome every hurdle, every challenge that presented itself. The initial euphoria quickly subsided, replaced by a fresh wave of apprehension. The weighty responsibility of representing rural America, of articulating the voices of small farmers on a national stage, pressed down upon his shoulders. He felt the pressure to not disappoint those who had placed faith in his abilities, to honor the legacy of his family, his community. Agritech Solutions provided Emma with a state-of-the-art laboratory, outfitted with cutting-edge technology, and a team of seasoned engineers to assist her in refining the project. However, Emma soon realized that Mr. Carter envisioned a different trajectory for her automated irrigation system. He sought to transition it into a commercial product, targeting large estates and maximizing profitability. Conversely, Emma believed her project should be accessible to small-scale farmers who struggled with the costs of modern technologies. She sought to create a sustainable solution, one that respected the environment and fostered the autonomy of rural producers. Emma's divergent viewpoints consistently engendered conflict within the Agritech Solutions team. The engineers, accustomed to adhering to Mr. Carter's directives, exhibited resistance to Emma's proposals. They perceived her solutions as unduly simplistic, lacking economic viability. Emma felt frustrated and isolated. She perceived Mr. Carter as viewing her as a mere marketing tool, a means of projecting Agritech Solutions' image as a socially responsible enterprise. However, he demonstrably lacked any genuine interest in her perspective or her values. Confronted with this predicament, Emma made a difficult, yet resolute, decision to proceed with her project, even if it meant challenging Mr. Carter and Agritech Solutions. She acknowledged the potential for losing sponsorship, facing derision, and having her aspirations dashed. However, she could not compromise her core principles nor relinquish her vision. Working in secrecy, during the wee hours he honed his automated irrigation system, guided by his convictions. He employed alternative materials, researched innovative solutions, and sought support from other small farmers who shared his vision. Simultaneously, Emma was preparing for the National Robotics Fair. She scrutinized the projects of her competitors, honed her presentation, and rehearsed her delivery. She understood the imperative of appearing flawless, of persuading the judges that her automated irrigation system represented the optimal solution for family farming. As the fair date drew near, tension escalated. Mr. Carter exhibited mounting impatience with Emma's obstinacy. Director Thompson, meanwhile, observed the situation with a complex interplay of intrigue and satisfaction. She seemed to root for Emma's failure, as if eager to validate her initial assessment. Emma was undeterred. She harbored a potent belief in her capabilities, held a firm conviction in her vision, and understood that arduous labor and unwavering dedication would surmount any impediment. After all, as her mother had often reiterated, perseverance is the very essence of success. And Emma was resolved to demonstrate that the soul of family farming lay in innovation, sustainability, and social equity. Now picture her resolve manifesting itself on the fairground stage, before a skeptical audience and an ambitious sponsor. The National Robotics Fair erupted as a kaleidoscope of innovation and ambition. Labyrinthine corridors showcased gleaming prototypes, while young inventors championed their creations with the fervor of those convinced they were on the verge of altering the world. Emma, despite the maelstrom of emotions swirling within her, felt at ease within that intellectually vibrant atmosphere. The festive atmosphere failed to dispel the palpable tension emanating from her relationship with Mr. Carter. Each exchanged glance, each carefully weighed word, underscored the growing chasm between them. He pressed her to adhere to the prescribed script, to present the project as a product of Agritech Solutions, eschewing any mention of her own contributions and her vision for family farming. Emma held firm. She knew that succumbing to Mr. Carter's pressures would be a betrayal of herself and all those who had faith in her capabilities. She resolved, therefore, to leverage the fair as a platform to champion her principles, to demonstrate to the world that innovation could be a potent instrument of societal transformation. On the presentation day, Emma ascended the stage with her heart in her throat. The audience, comprising investors, entrepreneurs, journalists, and other aspiring inventors, regarded her with a mixture of anticipation and scrutiny. Mr. Carter, seated in the front row, fixed her with a warning gaze. Emma took a deep breath and began to speak. She presented the automated irrigation system, elucidating its operation, demonstrating its results, and highlighting its potential to optimize water usage and minimize waste. However, contrary to Mr. Carter's expectations, Emma did not confine herself to a mere description of the project's technical aspects. With passion and eloquence, Emma recounted her origins, her life on the farm, and the hardships faced by small-scale farmers. She articulated the critical importance of sustainability, the necessity of environmental protection, and her aspiration to transform agriculture into an instrument of social justice. She recounted how Director Thompson had humiliated her and how she leveraged that experience for personal growth. She elaborated on the crucial support she received from Ms. Collins, her teacher, and her mother, who consistently fostered her development. Initially skeptical, the audience began to succumb to Emma's sincerity and passion. Her words, imbued with emotion and authenticity, resonated deeply within the hearts of all who yearned for a better world. In her impassioned closing remarks, Emma urged investors and entrepreneurs to champion groundbreaking projects that would redound to societal benefit, to support the young innovators dreaming of altering the world, and to recognize the crucial role of family farms, the bedrock of our sustenance. The silence following Emma's presentation was deafening. Mr. Carter, visibly agitated, rose abruptly and departed, followed by several of his aides. Ms. Thompson, meanwhile, surveyed the scene with a wry smile playing on her lips. But abruptly, the audience erupted in applause. The applause, initially hesitant, grew progressively louder, more fervent, more enthusiastic. Emma, her eyes welling with emotion, thanked everyone with a radiant smile. At that juncture, Emma knew she had triumphed. Not over the fair nor the prize, but over herself. She had overcome her fears, upheld her principles, and demonstrated to the world that innovation, when guided by ethics and passion, can be a potent force for transformation. Now contemplate how this personal victory would prepare her for the more profound yet to arrive blow. Despite the lingering echoes of applause ringing in her ears, Emma swiftly confronted the bitter truth. Returning to the Agritech Solutions booth, she encountered a desolate scene. Her name had been summarily removed from all promotional materials, replaced by the company's logo. The automated irrigation system, previously presented as a collaborative creation, was now being touted as an exclusive agri-tech innovation. Confronted by Mr. Carter, Emma heard a dispassionate and calculating justification. He argued that the company's image was paramount to individual recognition, that the market demanded a narrative of corporate success, not a personal triumph. He offered her a substantial sum of money as compensation for her work and contribution. Mr. Carter's proposal struck Emma as an affront. She wasn't motivated by monetary gain. She wasn't prepared to compromise her principles for a promise of financial success. What she sought was the acknowledgement of her talent, the appreciation of her labor, and the opportunity to transform agriculture into an instrument of social justice. Mr. Carter's offer was vehemently rejected. The speaker declared their unwillingness to permit Mr. Carter's appropriation of their intellectual property, their steadfast refusal to compromise their principles, and their resolute refusal to remain silent in the face of perceived injustice. Consequently, they chose to sever ties with Agritech Solutions and forge their own independent path. The rupture with Mr. Carter ignited a maelstrom of criticism and attacks. Seizing the opportunity, Director Thompson issued a formal communiqué, effectively denigrating Emma's project and casting doubt on her innovative capacity. The press, demonstrably swayed by the Agritech Solutions narrative, published sensationalized articles, distorting the facts and maligning Emma's reputation. Undeterred by the hardships, Emma returned to the farm, head held high and heart brimming with hope. She knew the path ahead would be arduous, yet she was resolute in confronting every obstacle to fulfill her aspirations. Returning to her reality, Emma found unexpected support from a group of agricultural engineer graduates, former classmates who, like her, had encountered prejudice and discrimination in the job market. Together, they founded Greenroot Tech, a startup focused on developing innovative solutions for family farming. Greenroot Tech became Emma's new professional haven. There, she encountered a collaborative environment steeped in mutual respect and a genuine appreciation for her abilities. Her fellow agricultural engineers resonated with her vision, recognized her potential, and were demonstrably committed to supporting her project. Collectively, they refined the automated irrigation system, transforming it into an even more efficient, sustainable, and accessible solution. They developed the Smart Soil System, an intelligent soil monitoring system that, in addition to optimizing water usage, also controls the application of fertilizers and pesticides, thereby reducing production costs and minimizing environmental impact. The Smart Soil System logo became a resounding success. Smallholder farmers nationwide embraced the technology, achieving remarkable outcomes. Productivity soared, operational costs plummeted, and product quality demonstrably improved. Family farms, previously relegated to the margins and overlooked, began to ascend in prominence and recognition. Greenroot Tech experienced meteoric growth, establishing itself as a benchmark in the agricultural technology sector. The company garnered prestigious awards and accolades, attracting significant investment and key partnerships. Emma, formerly a seemingly unremarkable and underestimated individual, has metamorphosed into a potent symbol of innovation, resilience, and overcoming adversity. Now, witness how this remarkable transformation will propel her back to her origins, imbued with a fresh perspective and a renewed purpose. The Smart Soil System's revolutionary impact on family farming nationwide propelled Emma to a level of influence she'd never envisioned. However, rather than intoxicating her, this newfound prominence served as a catalyst for her conviction that true transformation lay in disseminating knowledge and inspiring the next generation. Consequently, she determined it was time to return to the cradle of her journey, the very school that had once rejected her. Instead of seeking retribution or flaunting her achievements, Emma aspired to offer a revitalized perspective, a genuine testament to the blossoming potential inherent in individuals, regardless of their origins or outward appearances. Consequently, she accepted the invitation to deliver the commencement address at that year's graduating class ceremony, an event poised to become a pivotal moment in the institution's history. The news of her visit ignited a frenzy. Director Thompson, now considerably less influential, futilely attempted to cancel the event, arguing that Emma's presence would divert the students' focus. However, a substantial majority of parents and teachers voiced their support for her participation, acknowledging the profound significance of her story as a paradigm of resilience and overcoming adversity. On the day of the ceremony, Emma experienced a complex interplay of apprehension and exhilaration. As she ascended the stage, she was confronted by an attentive and inquisitive audience. Among the graduating class, she recognized some of her former peers, those who had once held her in disdain. For a fleeting moment, the temptation to retaliate, to expose their hypocrisy and prejudices, surged within her. Nevertheless, Emma resisted that temptation. She grasped that true victory lies not in the debasement of others, but rather in the elevation of the human spirit. She then resolved to utilize her discourse to inspire young people to pursue their aspirations, to challenge preconceptions, and to construct a more equitable and just future. Now consider how this applies when encountering skepticism, doubt, or rejection. Emma began, her voice firm and confident. How will you channel this negative energy into fuel for your journey? Instead of recounting her accomplishments, Emma focused on sharing her learnings, her failures, and her reflections. She recounted how humiliation spurred her pursuit of excellence, how rejection taught her to cherish her own convictions, and how betrayal solidified her resolve. She elucidated that success is not a destination, but a ceaseless odyssey replete with challenges and opportunities. Furthermore, consider the community's role in your journey, Emma continued. What are the bonds that unite you, and how can you strengthen these ties to confront any obstacles that may arise? She emphasized the critical importance of familial support, mentorship, and collaborative efforts in forging a thriving career. He emphasized that talent is not an innate gift, but rather a skill cultivated through diligent effort, dedication, and passion. He urged the youth to explore their interests, to venture into new domains, and not to be deterred by missteps. Therefore, contemplate the legacy you aspire to bequeath to the world, Emma concluded, her voice choked with emotion. What kind of impact do you seek to engender, and how can you leverage your talents to fashion a more equitable and sustainable world? She exhorted the graduating class to become agents of change, to champion their values, and to strive for a more just and sustainable future. Following her address, Emma was met with a thunderous ovation from the assembled audience. Graduates, parents, faculty, all rose to their feet, acknowledging the potency of her message and the genuine resonance of her narrative. Even Principal Thompson, characteristically reserved, joined in the applause, a rare and significant display of approbation. At that juncture, Emma felt she had fulfilled her mission. She had returned to school not to seek retribution, but rather to inspire. She had transmuted her pain into hope, her humiliation into fortitude, and her failure into triumph. And she had demonstrated to the world that talent knows no color, no provenance, no social standing. That talent is a flame ignited within the hearts of those who dare to dream. Yet, the journey was not yet complete. A final challenge, perhaps the most consequential of all, awaited Emma, a conclusive test of whether her message had truly resonated with the hearts of those who had heard it. Following the fervent discourse, an unexpected invitation rekindled the flame of hope in Emma, demonstrating that resilience sometimes finds resonance in the most unlikely of places. One of the attendees at the ceremony, Clara, the daughter of a prominent regional senator, approached Emma with a bold proposal to lead a rural outreach project, leveraging the smart soil system to revitalize small, vulnerable agricultural holdings. Initially, Emma hesitated. Distrust, a scar from past experiences, still cast a pall over her decisions. However, upon witnessing the luminous sparkle in Clara's eyes, the genuine aspiration to reshape the reality of so many families, Emma realized that to deny this opportunity would be to abnegate her very being. Thus, Emma accepted the challenge, embarking on a journey that would take her to the most remote corners of the state, allowing her to intimately understand the stories of farmers struggling to survive amidst drought, resource scarcity, and the neglect of authorities. The Roots of the Future initiative quickly garnered prominence, attracting the support of volunteers, corporations, and non-governmental organizations. The smart soil system, tailored to the specificities of each region, proved a potent instrument for boosting productivity, minimizing costs, and fostering sustainability. The project's success ignited the ire of former opponents. Mr. Carter, in collusion with Director Thompson, orchestrated a smear campaign, accusing Emma of misappropriating funds, manipulating data, and furthering the ruination of traditional agriculture. The accusations, disseminated in local newspapers and radio stations, had a devastating impact. Many farmers, swayed by the negative propaganda, abandoned the project, fearing retribution. Greenroot Tech, pressured by investors and partners, was compelled to suspend funding. The situation appeared dire. Emma, feeling betrayed and abandoned, contemplated giving up. However, upon receiving the unwavering support of Clara and the other volunteers, Emma realized she could not succumb. She knew the struggle would be arduous, but that the reward would be worthwhile. Above all, Emma learned that true leadership lies not in the acquisition of power, but in the capacity to inspire others to strive for an ideal. Resilience, in turn, is not merely the ability to withstand adversity, but also the capacity to learn from mistakes and move forward with hope. Furthermore, Emma grasped that success is not solely quantifiable, but also measurable by its societal impact. The smart soil system, more than a mere innovative technology, was a transformative instrument, capable of empowering communities, fostering social equity, and constructing a more sustainable future. Amidst the tempest of accusations and the looming uncertainty over the future of the Raízes do Futuro project, an unforeseen event cast a faint light upon the darkness. Mariana, a former classmate, now a seasoned reporter for a nationally circulated influential newspaper, driven by admiration and friendship, embarked on a thorough investigation into the allegations against Emma. Armed with her keen journalistic acumen and unwavering integrity, Mariana delved into a sea of documents, interviewed farmers, volunteers, and experts, meticulously dissecting each claim made by Mr. Carter and Ms. Thompson. In a series of explosive reports, she unveiled the web of insidious interests driving the defamatory campaign, exposing the manipulation of information, the intimidation of witnesses, and the misappropriation of public funds. Mariana's reporting triggered a seismic shift in public opinion. Mr. Carter's previously revered image as a visionary crumbled amidst the scandal. Director Thompson, cornered by the evidence, was removed from her position. Greenroot Tech, regaining investor confidence, resumed funding for the Roots of the Future project. The most impactful reversal came directly from the agricultural community itself. Farmers, previously having abandoned the project, now regretful and disillusioned by Mr. Carter's empty promises, returned en masse, determined to recommence and rebuild what had been decimated. Despite the favorable turn of events, Emma carried a burden, the persistent resentment towards Ms. Thompson. Forgiveness, while acknowledged as crucial, felt like a distant ideal, a mountain too steep to climb. How could she break free from the shackles of the past and embrace a future unburdened by animosity? This was the nagging question, the final hurdle to overcome before achieving wholeness. Faced with this multifaceted landscape, where the stubbornness of the land intertwines with technological innovation, and initial disregard gives way to communal redemption, we are compelled to contemplate the intrinsic nature of transformation. A transformation that, far from being a mere qualitative leap, reveals itself as a continuous process of deconstruction and reconstruction, a perpetual cycle of learning and adaptation. Through every turn, every hurdle overcome, every tear shed, we discern a guiding thread that connects Emma's journey to a loftier ideal, the relentless pursuit of a more just and equitable world. A world where talent flourishes unfettered by social constraints, where innovation serves the common good, and where resilience emerges as the driving force of hope. However, the journey does not conclude with the attainment of a goal or the overcoming of an obstacle. The true reward lies in the capacity to transcend one's own limitations, to forgive those who have caused us pain, and to move forward with a light heart and a renewed spirit. Thus, like seasoned navigators, having braved tumultuous seas and unrelenting storms, we approach the safe harbor of conclusion, a haven where the puzzle pieces coalesce, where doubts dissipate, and where the central narrative unfolds in its entirety. Contemplating the formerly barren fields blossoming beneath the embrace of the smart soil system, Emma realized that her true epiphany lay not in public acclaim or triumph over her detractors, but rather in the quiet metamorphosis that had occurred within her own being. The shy girl, intimidated by the walls of the elite, had transformed into a beacon of hope, radiating courage and inspiring a legion of dreamers to forge their own paths, unbowed by the dictates of convention. An unexpected invitation, a gesture transcending the barriers of pride and resentment, would seal Emma's fate and mark the epilogue of her saga. Director Thompson, in a moment of rare lucidity and humility, requested a private meeting with the young agronomist. The chosen setting for this final confrontation was the antiquated robotics lab, a stage of so many frustrations and lessons learned. The oppressive silence of the room was broken only by the measured tick-tock of a grandfather clock, a silent witness to countless hours of labor and dedication. Director Thompson, visibly weakened by the weight of years and ill-considered decisions, began the conversation with a heartfelt and sincere apology. She acknowledged her biases, her flawed judgments, and the irreparable damage inflicted upon Emma's self-esteem. The young agronomist, in turn, listened intently to every word, absorbing the confession with a mixture of compassion and relief. She realized that Director Thompson, ensnared by her own limitations, was as much a victim of the system as she was. Forgiveness, previously a distant ideal, became a tangible reality, a balm capable of healing the wounds of the past. The meeting culminated in an affectionate embrace, a gesture that epitomized reconciliation and rebirth. Director Thompson, unshackled from the burden of resentment, pledged to transform the school into a center of agricultural technological excellence, affording equitable opportunities to all students, irrespective of their background or socioeconomic standing. In turn, Emma pledged her support for the initiative, sharing her experience and inspiring the youth to pursue their dreams with tenacity and resolve. The robotics lab, once a stage for frustrations, transformed into a sanctuary of innovation, a space where creativity blossomed unfettered and free from preconceptions. However, the true endeavor commences now. May Emma's saga serve as an inspiration to all who dare to dream, challenge societal norms, and strive for a more just and equitable world. Let resilience, empathy, and forgiveness be the cornerstones of our actions, guiding us toward a future where hope blossoms in every heart. May the flame of innovation continue to burn brightly, illuminating the path to a more prosperous and sustainable tomorrow. May Emma's message reverberate through the ages, inspiring generations to transmute suffering into strength, humiliation into courage, and failure into triumph. So mote it be.